welcome back to the Crochet Crowd, as well as my friends over at Yarnspirations.com. We'd also like to welcome our friends over at Repeat Crafter Me. Hey, this is a Sarah design from Repeat Crafter Me. I love this bear. It is so cute. You know, you really need to check out Repeat Crafter Me. Her designs are just fabulous. She's one of my favorite designers, and I think that she just knows how to take something that's ordinary, make it extraordinary, and you can enjoy your project at the end. So today's project, we are going to do this mini bear, and this is her daughter Zoe in behind here, and you can see that this bear is actually not as big as you thought. So when I was really looking at this last year, 2019, I thought, oh, it's such a big bear, do I have the time? And now that I'm doing it, the advanced prep work, I'm realizing this bear is actually not so big at all. So I have a choice to make, and I will tell you about that in just a sec. The thing about making tutorials is that, you know, sometimes this yarn is kind of hard to see the actual stitch work, but I'm gonna stick with the actual yarn. I'm gonna use Bernat Baby Velvet for this color here, and this is called Bunny Brown, and I'm gonna use that for the lighter color pink. And then I'm gonna use this other beautiful color. This is Crushed Velvet for the body of the bear. And so if I can just show you a piece of the bear that I'm working on here. I've just done an arm, so you can see in the Crushed Velvet it looks really quite cool. So it looks really quite elegant. So when I run tutorials like this, people say, well, you know, you should have used the yarn that it was recommended just to prove that it will work. And so then other people say you shouldn't use the yarn that it was prescribed because it's too hard to see the stitches. I'm gonna use the yarn that's prescribed here. It's actually doable, and I'm gonna recommend to you to use stitch markers throughout this thing. This pattern really is not a big pattern in order to accomplish today. So without further ado, we're going to be using a 5mm size H crochet hook, but I'm going to substitute and make my hook a 4mm size G hook so that my bear is a little bit tighter and a little bit smaller. You're also gonna need some polyfill. You're going to need some eyes today, and the eyes here are 9mm, and they have a safety backing on it. So once this is in position, you put on the washer, clip it in, and it's good to go. There's also what is called as a safety nose, and so this is the nose, and there's also a washer for that. And so when you're ready to put it on, you just clip it on. These are called safety because they're very, very difficult to get off. So it's a one-time placement pretty much. You pretty much have to cut it out of your bear if you need to remove it. So it's one of those things that you need to be very specific about. So without further ado, I'm going to work on this pattern in order the way that Sarah has written it here, and we're gonna start off with the body today, and we're gonna get ourselves started. Get a stitch marker. In my case, I'm just gonna use some spare yarn in order to play today. So let's begin the body of the bear. So I'm going to be using soft gray as my crushed velvet color for the main colors. So you're gonna ask me, that's what it is. So we're gonna start off in the instructions here. So you are going to slip stitch between every round, so it's not one of those continuous amigurumi where we keep going in a circle like a spiral. We are going to be slip stitching, and so we just have to get the first section done. So it's rounds number 1 through 19. There is some really easy parts here in order to have the growth. So we're gonna be doing the body section here, and it almost looks like the shape of a pineapple. So let's begin. Grab your 5mm or your 4mm, whatever size that you want to use today, and your yarn, and let's begin to play. So we're gonna start off today, and we're gonna use what is called as a magic loop, and there's tutorials available for that. I will show it one time here. You will be using it throughout this whole project, so it's not a hard thing to do. So what you need to do, and the reason why you want to do it, is it creates a nice tight close. So just create an extra long tail here, just so you see, and lay it in the front of your hand like this. Okay, now this is the yarn is leading towards the yarn ball, so just bring it up over your 2 fingers and cross over. So it's crossing over the back of your 2 fingers. Now I just want you just to go underneath the first one and scoop the second one and pull up, and carefully just slide your fingers out of that loop. So when you go to crochet this, now you want to crochet over the loop plus over top of the strand that is leading to the end of the ball, and when you're done, you're gonna pull that strand so that it pulls it shut. Remember, there's other tutorials that have this as well. So we're going to begin, and we are just going to chain 1, and that will lock your loop. Okay, so you make sure you crochet over the 2 strands as you're doing this. If you crochet over just one, then it won't close. So let's begin. We're gonna do round number 1. We're gonna just do 10 single crochets into the magic loop. So let's count those out together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now before you go any further, what I'm recommending to you is that you use your stitch marker. So just pull up a little bit larger loop and just slip your hook underneath the last stitch, and then just grab some spare yarn or a stitch marker and just pull through there so that you can identify that. Because it's fluffy yarn, it's harder to see. So what I want you to do now is pull the strand that is leading to the end of the ball, and this will pull everything nice and tight, and pull it nice and tight so that you cannot see an opening in the center, and then turn it over, and using your tapestry needle you are going to want to slip this in behind. So if you leave it as is and just cut it, it's gonna open up because there's nothing locking it in place. So people do magic circles and loops and stuff and they don't close it, and therefore the project ends up falling apart. So in here what you want to do is that you want to jump across to the other side of the circle. Just stay on the back side and pull through one time, go through a different spot in the other direction for a second time, and then going back through the third time, and you'll do that every time. So every time there's a magic loop here today, this is exactly what you'll do, and I won't be so slow about showing you at this point. So if you get anything looped in, oh that's the loop that I want. I was like, what is that extra strand? So there we go. So that's the loop. So I've gone back and forth 3 times. I can safely now cut it down into the project, and I don't have to worry about that falling out. So let's turn it back over and let's put that loop back on the hook. And before you finish this section, I want you to join it to the very beginning one. So just slip stitch to pull through. Okay. So let's begin round number 2. Now when I was practicing this, I put the stitch marker in the last stitch of the round. Just remember that. So let's begin second round. So you're gonna chain up 1 to begin, and each stitch is going to get 2 single crochets in it. So what I would do is go 1 and 1, so there's 2 in the first one, and then 2 and 2. It's a way of keeping count. And then the next one is 3 and 3, and then 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6 and 6, 7 and 7, and 8 and 8, and then 9 and 9, and then finally in the end it's 10. So that's where the stitch marker is. It's 10 and 10. And before I move anything further, what I want to do is that I want to move that stitch marker up to the last one. So just pull it through, and we'll hold it there so that you'll see it next time in the future. And if you don't need stitch markers, then don't bother, but then just slip stitch it to join it to the first single crochet. Beautiful, isn't it? Let's begin round number 3. So now that we started you off nice and slow, I'm going to give you the instructions then to complete these rounds. So for round number 3, it's just 1 stitch. So just chain up 1, and it's 1 stitch in each. So if you remember from the last time, we just put in 20 single crochets because there was 2 into each. So what I would recommend to you is that you just count it as you're going around. It's not a big deal to do. So it's 1 single crochet in each. So I would count to 20 if I were you and you were me. So just 1, 2, and 3, and just keep on going around and make sure that there's 20, and then join it with the slip stitch to begin then round number 4, and we'll see you there in just a moment. So my last one is number 20. I have been counting because I usually do what I say. When I ask you to do something, I usually do it myself because that's what I'm telling you. So I'm moving the stitch marker, and then I'm going to join it then to the beginning single crochet, then to start round number 4. Let's begin round number 4. Chain up 1, and here's the repeat. So you're gonna put 2 single crochets into the first one to get ourselves started, and the repeat's gonna start from this next one. So it's gonna be 1 single crochet into the next, and then there's going to be 2 single crochets into the next one after that. That's your repeat. Okay, so it's going to be 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 single crochets in the next one after that. Okay, so keep doing that all the way around, and the very last stitch will just have 1 single crochet in there. So I'll see you at the end of this round. So it's 2 and 1, 2 and 1, etc. When you get all the way around, the last one is 1 single crochet, and we're just keeping in count with the pattern. And then I want you to move the stitch marker up. That was round number 4. There should be 30 stitches in the circle, and then just join it to the beginning single crochet that you started with. So now let's begin round number 5 through 11. Now rounds number 5 through 11 are all the same, so I'm just going to show it to you just one time. So you're just going to chain up 1, and it's just going to be 1 single crochet into the first one, and then 1 into each of them, and then just join it back. So you should know that there is 30 stitches in the circle if you want to count those as you're going. So essentially there's a total of 7 rounds of that. So it's rounds number 5 through 11 to do that. What I would do is just go around and then just check it off. So now that I've chained 1, I'm just gonna go in 1 single crochet in each. You're gonna notice that it will continue to grow just a little bit before then stabilizing off, then to kind of create kind of a bowl shape that you want. So you can either count it if you wish. If you trust yourself, then that's great. So just 7 rounds of 1 single crochet in each, and I'll see you at the end of that on the end of round number 11. So rounds number 5 through 11 are done. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's not a very big bear. So we're now going to move to round number 12, and we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to just chain up 1 and put the first 2 together. So just going into the first one, so pull up a loop, and then go to the second one, pull up a loop, and you have 3 loops on the hook. Pull through all 3 loops. So that was a 2 together, single crochet 2 together. You're now going to then single crochet in the next 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then the next 2 are together. So I'm using my fingers in behind. You can actually feel the stitches if you can't physically see them, but I can actually see them as well. So put 2 together and then 4 in the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 together. Please do that all the way around, and that is going to be pretty awesome, and I'll see you at the end of this round. This is round number 12. Coming up to the end of round number 12, the last 4 will be 1 single crochet each, and that's just a matter of keeping the right count. So there's no special counting required. So just move up your stitch marker if it helps you, and then just join it to the very first one, which is a 2 together single crochet. Let's move on now to round number 13. It's the same as round number 3, which is just a single crochet round. So this time you should know that there's only 25 stitches in the circle. So just chaining up 1 and then single crochet the next 25, which is the number of stitches that are left, and then slip stitch it to the beginning. So let's continue this. Round number 13, 1 single crochet in each, total of 25 stitches all around. I'm just in the end of round number 13. I'm just moving this up. I did get my 25 in like I thought I would. It's just a matter of keeping count, and then just join it to the beginning to move up. So round number 14, we're gonna do another decrease. So we're just gonna chain up 1 and single crochet the first 2 together, and then it's gonna be 3 in a row by themselves. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together, and we're gonna continue to do that all the way around. So please do that all the way around. So 2 together and then 3 in a row, 2 together, 3 in a row for round number 14. Coming up to the end of round number 14, I'm just joining it to the first one. So round number 15 is just a single crochet round. So there will only be 20 stitches in the circle. So just chaining up 1, and it's 1 single crochet in each, and there's a total of 20. So let's continue to do that. Round number 15. So one more decrease, and then we just have then a few more rounds then of just regular single crochet. So one more decrease, it's round number 16, just chaining up 1, and you're going to put the first 2 together. So 1 and 2. And this time will be 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 2. So 1 and 2, and then put the next 2 together, and then the next 2 are by themselves. So 1 and 2. Please do that all the way around. This is round number 16. Okay, the final 2 stitches are just regular single crochet, and that's just a matter of keeping the count, nothing special. And then I'm just moving up the stitch marker. So I have 3 more rounds to go. They're all just regular single crochets. There's no growth or no subtraction at all, and this is leading up to the neck of the character. So just joining it And so this time rounds number 17, 18 and 19, there's only gonna be 15 single crochets in a row. So just continuing up, so chain up 1 and then just it's 15 single crochets in a round. So just keep a count of those and please do all 3 rounds, and then we're gonna stuff and then leave this for later, and we will then move on to another part of the body. So there's 15 single crochets in a row in each of the next 3 rounds. So just come to the end of round number 19, and I am just going to just pull through the loop. I've already cut it off camera, and I want to leave a long strand here so that I can sew, and I can also pull out my stitch marker at this point. You can almost hardly even tell where this slip stitching line is. It's perfect. So what I want to do is that I want to grab my stuffing and just start stuffing it nice and firm here, and you can see that it's a nice teardrop shape that you have. So let's get this stuffed and let's move on in this tutorial. So I've now stuffed it. I can think about the firmness later, but it's actually pretty firm, and I'm just thinking if this is the body and it has to sit. So I'm now then ready to move on in the pattern. So let's put this aside and let's move on. So for the next part of the tutorial we're going to need the safety nose. You can also just embroider a nose, or you can also just do a little something with crochet and do it if you don't trust these safety products. So that's something that you can decide for yourself. So we're gonna start the snout next. So on the instructions here, the snout is only 3 rounds that we're about to do, and then we're just going to create a chain and then kind of create an oval kind of shape, and we'll figure out that as we go. So let's make the snout using the other color that you see in the pattern. So let's begin to do the snout, and we are just gonna do a regular starting, so just a slip knot to begin, and I would recommend the stitch marker as well for this. So let's begin, and we're gonna chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now that you have your 5 in here, let's do first round. We're gonna do 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, so just count it back. So 1 and 2 and just go to the second and just get the back hump only. We're gonna go completely around this chain. So we're gonna single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then it says 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 chains. So continuing along the chain just in the back hump only. So just 1 single crochet in the next one and 1 in the other, and that only leaves 1 chain left. In the final chain here it says that we need to put 2 single crochets in the next chain. So that's the back hump of the last one that's here. But we're not quite done. We need to rotate into a circle. So just continually turning this. So now we're gonna go on the underside of the circle. So we're going to then 1 single crochet in each of the next 3. So starting in the first one, so it's just 3 in a row. So it's gonna be 1, 2 and 3. Like that, and then there's going to be in the last one here there's going to be 2 single crochets, noticing that I went up over top of the straggler to keep it in position. So 1 and 2, and then I'm going to join it to the very first one that I started with, which is right here. There should be a total of 10 single crochets in a circle, and what I'm probably recommending, if you want to, just get a stitch marker and mark the very last one that you did. Not the slip stitch, but the very last one, and then you can keep an eye on that as well. So this is the first round. There should be 10 single crochets in a circle, and let's continue then into round number 2. Round number 2, beautiful, easy. So what you need to do is that you just need to chain up 1, and it's gonna be 2 single crochets in each of the stitches going around. So if you have 10 in there now, there will be a total of 20 by the time you're done. So I just did 2 into the first one, so 1 and 2. So then I can go and say in the next one like I did with before, so I can say 2 and 2 because that's the second stitch, and then 3 and 3, and then the next one is 4 and 4 and 5 and 5, 6 and 6, 7 and 7, 8 and 8, 9 and 9, and that's where the stitch marker is in the last one, so it'll be 10 and 10. So it's 2 into each, so that means that there's definitely 20 in there. So we're just gonna slip stitch to the very first one that you started with when you started this round. Let's then move on to round number 3, and if you want to move up your stitch marker, now is the time to do it, and then we just have one more round to do after this. So the final round, beautiful, is just chain 1 and it's 1 single crochet in each, so that means that there's only 20 stitches around. So 1, 2 and 3, and go all the way around. Make sure there's 20. We're gonna fasten off and then your snout is done. It's that quick. Once you get all the way around, just slip stitch to the very first single crochet that you started with, and that's it. Leave a long tail. You'll be sewing this to the face later, but we need to position on our safety nose. If you would like to do that now, now's the time to do it. So what you can just do is look at the photograph and see where it roughly is positioned, and then all you're just gonna do is just get the middle section. And what I want to do is that I want to look at the photo here, see where it is. So it looks like it's on the upper section of the round. So it looks like it's not right in the middle. It looks like it's in between the first layer and the second. So when I'm looking at it here, it looks like it's right in the middle here, just one up like that. So if you're trusting that, remember it's a one-time thing only, just turn it over and get the washer on the other side and just snap it into position. So just push through. If you think it's hard to get on, try getting it off. And snap it right in. Okay, and then you obviously want to turn it so it makes sense. And you're good to go. So get rid of everything here, any loose tails that you do have, and then you're just gonna use that tail to sew it onto the face later. So let's do that and let's move on in the pattern. So now we're gonna begin the head. So the head is probably the biggest section of them all, but that doesn't mean that it's hard. So I just kind of marked in here on what rounds are basically the just single crochet rounds. So you'll see that round number 6 right here is just single crochet all the way around. So the ones that I did here, they're just single crochet, so it's just a matter of keeping count in order to just make sure you do the rounds as is. So you can see when you take that out, you just see that there's a few growth, and then there's a big section of just single crochets, and then we start decreasing then. So we're looking kind of like for a balloon or a ball shape as we're making our way around. Also going to need your safety eyes as we get close here at the end of round number 19, just to take a look at that. And the round number 19 is that's kind of when you want to put on your eyes, because then you're gonna have to start closing this up so that it's completely shut and stuffed at the very top. So let's begin round number 1, and we're gonna start off with a magic loop. I've already shown you slowly how to do that, and I'm just gonna start off a little bit quicker this time for round number 1 for the head. So let's begin to do our head, and we're just gonna create our magic circle that we have. Once you get used to doing these kind of ideas, it gets easier. So we have our magic circle now ready, and we're going to put 8 single crochets in the magic circle. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and as I did before, put in your stitch marker so that you can identify it. If you don't feel you need to, then don't. And then you're just gonna take the strand that's leading towards the end just to pull it so that it forms the circle. And once you're happy with that, then you're just gonna turn it over in the back and then just secure it with your tapestry needle. Please do that now. Once you've got everything secured in the back side, if you're not sure where the 8th one is away, just count it back from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 like this. Because it's nice and fluffy yarn, you can also fake it too if you really had to, if you can't see it. That's kind of a neat idea. So let's begin, and let's move on now to round number 2. Round number 2, we're just gonna chain up 1, and it's gonna be 2 single crochets in each of the 8. So I go 1 in 1 and then 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6 and 6, and then 7 and 7, and then the last one here, 8 and 8. Move up my stitch marker and then slip stitch it to the beginning one, and then that will conclude then round number 2. Let's begin round number 3. We're gonna do a growth, so just chain up 1 and we're gonna put 2 single crochets in the first one, so 1 and 2, and then the next one is gonna be 1 by itself, so just 1. So here's the repeat for the whole thing. So you're just gonna put 2 into the next, so 1 and 2, and then the one after that is just 1. So please do that all the way around. This is round number 3. When you get all the way around, then it's just 1 single crochet into the last one, and that's just a matter of keeping the count, but it also states that as well. And then just move up your stitch marker and then join it to the beginning one that you'd started with. Let's move on now to round number 4. Round number 4, another growth round, so just chain up 1 and there's gonna be 2 into the first one, so 1 and 2. Then the next 2 in a row are by themselves, so 1 and 2 by themselves. Okay, so here's the repeat pattern, so there's gonna be 2 into the next, and then the next 2 are by themselves, so 1 and 2. Please do that all the way around. This is round number 4. So I'm just coming all the way around on the end of round number 4. Let's begin round number 5. It's another growth round, so you're just gonna chain up 1 and 2 single crochet in the first one, so 1 and 2, and now this time it's gonna be 3 in a row that are by themselves, so 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so that's gonna be 2 in this next one, so 1 and 2, and then 3 by themselves. Please do this all the way around for round number 5. So I'm just coming out to the end of round number 5. So rounds number 6 through 13, that's a total of 8 rounds, are all the same now. It's just a matter of keeping it all the same. So just chain up 1, just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. There's a total count of 40 stitches. If you want to keep count, it's up to you. So just 1 single crochet in each, and then just slip stitch when you get back around, and then just keep on moving up and check it off on your list. So rounds number 6 through 13 is just 1 single crochet in each, going all the way around. Okay, so I'm back. Now I have rounds number 6 through 13 done. So you can see it's a beautiful bowl shape, and now we're gonna start decreasing down. So let's begin round number 14. So 14, we're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna put the first 2 together. So 2 single crochets together. We did this on the body as well. And then we're gonna do 1 single crochet in the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the repeat pattern is 2 together, and then the next 3 are by themselves. So 1, 2, and 3. And this is round number 14. Please do that all the way around, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, I've just come up to the last one and just gonna slip stitch, and my stitch counts are perfect so far. So let's begin round number 15. It's just chain 1 and 1 single crochet in each of the rounds. So then there's only 32 stitches going around now that we've done our first decrease. So just count those out to make sure you got it right, and then I'll see you at the end of this one. So 1 single crochet into each, and there's a total of 32 rounds, are the stitches going in the round. Round number 16, we're gonna do another decrease, so just chain up 1 and we're gonna put the first 2 together, and then the next 2 are by themselves, so 1 and 2. So the repeat then for this round is put 2 together and then 2 by themselves. Please do that round for round number 16. Round number 16 is complete. Now let's do round number 17. Chain up 1, 1 single crochet into each. There is a total of 24 stitches in the round. Please do that and just make sure you get your right counts. So this is 3 so far. 24 is all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of round number 17. So round number 18, we're gonna do a decrease, and then 19 is just a regular single crochet round, and then we're gonna start applying the snout to this, and then we're gonna start lightly stuffing in order to get ourselves into the position that we need to be in. So round number 18 is just chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in, sorry, 2 together single crochet. So put the first 2 together and then 1 by itself. Okay, so 2 together and then 1 by itself. Please do that all the way around. This is round number 18, and I'll see you at the end of this round. Round number 19, let's begin, and then we're gonna start playing this fun stuff later. So chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in each of the stitches going around. There's a total of 16 single crochets, and then we're gonna hold there for a moment, and then we're gonna then apply the nose and etc. So I'll see you there in just a moment. So 1 single crochet in each going all the way around, and there's a total of 16 stitches altogether. So once you get all the way around, just slip stitch it to the beginning, and I'm gonna move up my stitch marker, and I want to begin doing the snout work and start lightly stuffing. So I want to stuff this so I can get the idea of the shape and then also orientation. I can see where I've done my stitch markers, so I may want to put that on the back so I have a nice clean face as well. So let's get our stuffing and let's start stuffing this, and let's get our nose ready as well, which is the snout patch. So using the photograph, I want to put on the snout. So there's some lightly stuffing behind it, so I want to make sure I stuff it as I'm going. One thing I like to do is that you got to look at the positioning of where this is. So you can see it's not just halfway up on the head, it's actually just slightly down. So it's probably around from the bottom section here. So in order for me not to be paranoid as I'm putting it together, I like to actually just attach it, and I like just to put some stitch markers in. So kind of reminds me of a seal at this moment. So what I want to do is that I want it just going in and just grabbing a section of it and then just pulling it a stitch marker through, and I'm going to just tie it. This is how I do my stuff so I don't get, once you start sewing it gets really kind of tough. So just tie, and then just kind of look at the orientation and then get the one down below. You know, when you put things in eyes, everything on angles, it actually gives expression, so it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're not perfect. I certainly can't do this perfect as well, so I'm not even gonna pretend that I can. And it's kind of unrealistic for me to say that, you know, it's perfect, it's easy. So once you get the orientation, again, now you just want the sides. You notice I haven't used any stuffing yet, so I don't want to do that yet. And then I'm just gonna get my sides in here. So now my head has the snout. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So what I want to do then at this point is that I just want to look carefully. So now what I want to do is I want to take this strand here, the one that we left on, and now we want to start applying. I'm going to start stuffing after I'm more than halfway around. So just going in to the fabric, to the gray, and then pop it back out the next section. So stay within the pink area, and as you pass the stitch markers you could just safely take those out. Now before I get too far around, I want to make sure I got a little pocket here, and I'm going to apply some stuffing. Just a bit, nothing too crazy, just to get it to pop. It might be too much. Once I'm satisfied with it, all I'm just going to do then is just make sure it just goes into a knot, and because it's fluffy it's really easy to hide this thing. So you're just gonna do a knot, and then I'm just going to go in and out of the project in just this color 3 times. So just once, and just carefully, just so you don't change the parameters of it, go a second time and third time. And then what I like to do is then once it's in the third time, just go right into the ball itself and then pop it out somewhere else. So you can pop it out to the bottom if you wanted to, so it's completely on the inside, and then you can safely get rid of that. And then you can also then at this moment get rid of all of your stitch markers, and now you can position your eyes. So looking back at the photo, looking where the eyes are, so the eyes are probably right around there, and they look like they're just a layer up. So what I would do if I were you and you were me, I would just position them in and don't put them on yet, like as far as like secure them, and just make sure that it looks balanced. I just went in between some stitches. Okay, I think they're too close together, so I'm just gonna move them out one more on both sides. So once you're happy with it, just take your washer like you did with your safety nose and just get access to it from behind and snap your washers into position. You can feel it going on, and then just shape your head accordingly. So there is the head done. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to finish off this neck area, and let's continue then from round number 19, and we're still gonna lightly stuff, but then we're gonna restuff then right at the end as we're fastening it on, as we're putting everything together. So this is what it looks like so far. Let's continue then into round number 20. So just 2 more rounds left, round number 20 and 21. So 20, you're just gonna chain 1, and then just simply just go into the first 2 and put those together, and then one into the next, so one by itself. So just remember that's two together and then one by itself. Please do that all the way around. This is round number 20 and there should be only 12 stitches at the end. So before you do the final round here, round number 21, you want to make sure that this is stuffed firm. You cannot stuff any beyond this one here. So what I want to do is just now make sure it's a little too squishy for my taste. Take your body that you've already got it and try to get the same feel to it. So keep stuffing and then eventually it'll come together like so. So let's continue to stuff this. Let's do the final round. Now that it's stuffed, it's actually pretty it's pretty good. Okay, so it's got bounce back and it doesn't lose its shape. So let's continue final round number 21. Chain up one and then put the first two together and then put every two together. So just single crochet together and then put the next two together, and then what you're going to do at the end of this is that you're gonna pull up a long loop and then collect all the stitches and then pull everything tightly, so then it will close off the bottom hole of the head. So that's why you need to make sure your stuffing is in position at this time, because you can't do any more at this point. So you're just going all the way around, just collecting it like so. Okay, so now I want to take this long tail that's left and I just want to use my tapestry needle and just circle it back around all the exposed loops. So you can see that there's still a small little hole here. So what you want to do is just want to kind of clothesline it together. This particular stuffing that I have is from Joann actually, and it's interesting. It's called the original polyfill premium polyester. It's interesting how that the polyester makes or polyfill makes such a huge difference. This one is a little more firmer than other polys that I've had, and because of this I think the shape is actually much better. So once you go all the way around collecting, just pull tight and it will close off that hole, and then simply just go back and forth. So just tie it once. Be nice about it, like you probably won't see this area anyway because it's gonna get stuck underneath the neck. So tie it and then back and forth a total of 3 times. So just once, twice through a different path, and then finally a 3rd time. And what I like to do for myself is that I like to stick it through the ball, so just straight in and then out somewhere else, and then I cut it. So just pull it a little bit so it causes it to sink in, and then when I pull it a bit it'll snap it and pull it back inside the ball, and now you can just shape and it's pretty good. So let's continue on in the pattern. Let's see what we're gonna do next. So we're now going to move on to the arms. You need 2 of them. I've already done one in advance just because I get my homework done, and then you need to lightly stuff it, which I haven't done yet. So just at the end of it, just gotta lightly stuff it just to make sure that it doesn't go flat on you, and then we're just going to attach that later, but we want to do all of our components now so that we can do all the final putting together at the end. So let's continue now and just make the arms, and that's our next section. So back to the pattern we go, and we are just going to do the arms. You can see that it's a pretty short section here, but there is a repeat of these rounds here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's total 6 of rounds here, 9 through 14, and it's just a matter of just doing 1 single crochet and just checking it off as you go. If you are doing this, I would strongly recommend that you just keep an eye on both of the arms to make sure that the lengths are the same. Nothing's worse than really than having something that's going to be a little bit shorter. Also recommending using a stitch marker so that you can keep an eye on things as well. Let's begin round number 1, which will start off with the magic loop once again. Okay, let's get your arms started and let's do a magic loop. Remember, chain 1 locks the loop that we have. So inside the loop then we are going to then have 10 single crochets. So just count those out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is 7, 8, 9, and 10. So using your stitch markers again, just to keep an eye on things, put it in and then pull shut, and then I need you to secure it like I showed you before. You'll really regret it if you don't. I've seen too many people on Facebook that does a magic loop or something like this. It does not. They pull it and then they cut it and they don't realize that there's nothing actually holding it from coming back out. So secure it on the other side, and then I will see you starting the next round, round number 2 through 7. Okay, once everything's secured, then just slip stitch to the beginning one. So there's 10 single crochets in the circle. So rounds number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and you want to check it off as you go, are each 1 single crochet. So just chaining up 1, and there's 10 single crochets in the circle. So just count those out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 is the last one with the stitch marker. Moving that up, and so that's round number 2. So I need you to continue to do that then until round number 7. So just slip stitch and then begin again. So just make sure you just flip it out and then just do the next rounds all the way through 7. 1 single crochet in each, 10 single crochets around. So I'm back, and now I have my rounds all the way through 7 done. So now I'm going to continue then to round number 8, and round number 8 we want to do a decrease. So we're only going to decrease by 2 stitches, so we end up with only 8 in the round instead of 10. So we're just going to chain up 1, and we're going to put single crochet 2 together, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to put the next 2 together, and then the final 3 are going in. So 1, 2 and 3. That takes us all the way around, so move up your stitch marker. That was round number 8. Now 9 through 14 is all just single crochet rounds, so you can do that on your own. So just make a note of it. So write 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 on a piece of paper and check it off as you go. So just chaining up 1 and then 1 single crochet in each. So there's only 8. If you want to start stuffing as you're going, it's just easier as well. So you please do that. So I'll see you at the end of round number 14 at the end of this one here, and leave a long tail in for sewing. So now I have both arms done. I did one in advance, and I want to just feel them to make sure that they kind of have the same thickness going on, kind of leaving a little bit of extra stuffing out of the top section here, just keeping it more like paws. So when I go to sew this to the character, it'll look like it will make sense. So it'll give me a little more flexibility because you want to kind of have them droop down. So get both of these done, and then we're going to move on to the ears next. So we're now going to move on to the ears, and the ears are just kind of like a little bowl shape, and there's no stuffing required for these, I don't believe. No, it doesn't say to do that. So we're going to just do this. There's only 5 rounds, and again use stitch markers. I actually started my homework with this particular one just to understand this kind of yarn to work with in order to do this kind of concept, because I'm used to Afghan work and stuff. So it's kind of a neat idea, and we're going to do 2 ears of course, and you can sew those onto the head if you're comfortable at the end of this section as well. So let's begin. We're going to use a magic loop as we have been in the past. So just pound this out. And for the ears, I'm just going to chain 1 to start it. And then for the ears, what does it say? It says 5 single crochets in the magic loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Mark it with the stitch marker as always. Pull it shut and then secure it, and then I'll see you at the next section, which will be round number 2. I've already slip stitched it, now ready for round number 2. Chain up 1, and then there's going to be 2 single crochets in each of the 5 stitches. So I go 1 and 1 and 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, and then the stitch marker is the last one. So 5 and 5. Move your stitch marker up, and then just slip stitch to the beginning. So that was round number 2. Round number 3, let's continue along. Chain up 1, and you're going to do 2 single crochet into the first one. So 1 and 2, and then the next one here that we're gonna do is that we're just gonna do one by itself, and then the next one has two, and that's the growth for this ears. Okay, so it's one and then two into the next, and please do that all the way around. This will increase our rounds to 15 stitches if you're keeping count. Coming up to the end of number 3, and I'm just slip stitching. So in round number 4, when we start, we're going to then just put one single chain 1 and one single crochet in each of the stitches. There's 15 all the way around, so just do one single crochet in each going all the way around. This is round number 4. Finally, the last round we're gonna do a decrease, so just chain up 1 and you're gonna do the first 2 together and then 1 by itself. So 2 together and 1 by itself, and so this will help it to come into a bowl shape, which is what you need. So please do this all the way around. This is round number 5 and we're almost done the ears at this point. You want to do 2 of them. Make sure that they both look the same as far as sizing, and then just continue then just to have a good time. So what I want to do is that I want to make sure that there is a total of 10 stitches. So I feel like I'm off. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So I'm good, and I'm just going to slip stitch, and then that will conclude off the ear. So I just want to, before I fasten off, I just want to grab the other ears. If my first one, then I just use it as my template and they both look the same. Therefore I'm good to go. Leave a long tail here and we're gonna sew that on. We're gonna look at the project next and see where we can sew it on, and then I'll give you some tips on sewing the ears on as well. To begin the ears, what you can just do is that you just want to just look at the bear and look at the photograph, and you'll notice that the ears are kind of coming down on the side. So where you position them is, it kind of gives it a bit of expression, and it looks like it's close to the top of the head. So what I'm going to do is that I'm looking at the positioning of the eyes, and it looks like that one kind of starts just up here. So I'm going to just start it here. So I want to just put in a stitch marker just to hold it, the position, and then I want to kind of just eye up that, and then using another stitch marker down, and then I want to kind of match it to the other side of this. So now that my stitch markers are in, all I'm just going to do then is just take the one strand through the section of the ear. And what I want to do is that I want to tie on the ears first. Okay, once you're happy with the ear positioning, then what you can just do then is take the long tail, and how you do it, something like this, is that you want to secure the ears and anything that you're going to sew on from 2 sides. So you just don't go through one side and just say it's good, because it's gonna fall over. So what I want to do is that you want to follow the edge around the ear and then go all the way around and then back, so that it's secured on all sides. If you just do one, it'll just fall, but if you do it on both sides, it'll hold it. So you've got to make sure that your ears are positioned right. Now's the time to do it, and as you're moving past the stitch markers, you can probably pull those out as well. So just going into the project and staying right underneath the ears, and just coming out the first layer of the ears, and just go all the way around as a whip stitch. And I want you to do that next. Once your ear is on, then you just want to secure it from the back side of the ear, and just stay on the back only, and just make sure that it does eventually tie, and then just go in and out of the work a total of 3 times back and forth. So I'm just gonna put it through so it causes it to just get stuck, and then back and forth 3 times. Stay on the back side of the ear or in the back of the head. So once. This yarn is so easy to hide anything. I can see why Sarah chose this yarn. So once it's back and forth 3 times, you can just safely cut it. Now your second ear is the most important one, because where you just position this one, the second one should be in line, and you can see it just naturally wanted to turn like that. So now we're gonna secure the second one, and just kind of making sure that it looks good at this point, making sure it's forward enough as well. So I'm gonna secure that one, and then we'll be back and continue the pattern. Okay, so my ears are in position, pretty happy with them. You can see it's a little bit more forward on the body, and I think that's kind of like that on the original sample too, but of course you have to make decisions what matters to you. So then that will go on to the body next. So the body is obviously much smaller. It's like a, yeah, fabulous. So let's continue then in our pattern, and let's see what we're gonna get ourselves into next. So we're gonna get ourselves into the feet next, and there's also a tail later. You notice that the feet here, it has shaping. It kind of surprised me a bit. So when it's sitting on the character, I think that when we're going to look at it, you don't realize that the shaping actually there, and is actually pretty neat. So I want to keep an eye on for that. Again, not a big deal, and we're gonna continue then into making the feet next. So in the pattern, here we go. We're gonna start with the feet. We're gonna just start off with the other color, like the snout color, just for the first 3 rounds, and then we're gonna be switching over then from 4 to 9, then with just the regular, and then we're gonna be sewing to the bottom of the body as pictured. So you want to keep an eye on for that as well. So let's continue then to do the feet. Let's begin to do the feet, and what we're going to do is start off with your magic loop as you have been, using the other snout color. And this is also the heart color too, so you're just gonna secure it there. So let's begin. We're gonna do 6 single crochets in the magic loop. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you know what to do at this point. You just need to pull up the loop. Let's position our stitch marker. Let's pull it shut, and let's then add in the tapestry needle to secure it, and then I'll see you and we'll begin round number 2 together. So let's begin round number 2. We are actually gonna start shaping right now. So watch what we're going to do. We're just gonna take our time then. We're just gonna chain 2. It will not count as a stitch, and in the same one that you did the join, you need to put in 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2. The next stitch will be also 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2. The next 2 stitches will each be a 2 double crochets, or 2 half double crochets each. So the next 2 stitches are 2 half double crochets. Like that. And then it says the 2 single crochets in each of the next 2. So we have 1 and 2, and then do the last one, 1 and 2. And once you have that done, then you've gone all the way around. So you can see it's a little oblong. That's what we're looking for. And we're going to then just slip stitch it to the top of the first double crochet. Ignore that chain 2, it's just a builder. And then that will conclude off round number 2. Let's begin round number 3. Chain 1, and you're going to place in 2 single crochets in the first one. So 1 and 2. And then the next one is 1 single crochet by itself. So the repeat pattern then for round number 3 is there's gonna be 2 single crochets in the next one, and then the next one is 1 by itself, and I need you to do that all the way around. There's a total of 18 single crochets by the time you go around, if you want to take a stab at counting those and making sure that you got the right counts. So just 2 into the first, and then 1 into the next one after that. Please do that around for round number 3. Okay, once you get around, you're just gonna slip stitch. This is the end of the line for this color. So we're gonna switch then back to the main color of your gray. So this is the bottom of the foot section, and then we're gonna continue. So just pull it through and weave it in a few sections, and then we're gonna continue into round number 4 and 5, which will just be just regular single crochets, and there's gonna be a total of 18 single crochets going around in a circle. So let's start off and let's begin round number 4. So round number 4, just grabbing your next yarn, just create a slip knot just to extra security, and right where you kind of finished is where you want to begin, and making sure that there's only 18 in a round. Okay, so just join it, just chain 1 and then single crochet into the same one. So we want 18 around, so 1, 2, 3, noticing I'm going up over top of the straggler. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And it looks like there's an extra stitch, but it's not. But if that bothers you, what you can just do is put the last spacing and the last stitch together as a 2 together, and then that'll hide that in. It's a little technique. I use it quite often. So let's begin round number 5 is just chain up 1, and then it's just 1 single crochet in each round. There's a total of 18, and I'll see you at the end of this round, round number 5. So round number 6 is kind of an unusual one, but if you look at the original, see how it kind of bowls out like this? This is what we're gonna be doing next. So let's just take our time. Chain 1, and we're gonna single crochet the first 2 together for ones. You're gonna put the next 2 together, and that's for second time. The next 2 together, that's the third time. And the next 2 together, that's the fourth time. And the remaining 10 stitches will each be a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you're back to where you started. So we're just gonna move up the stitch marker. That was round number 6. And let's slip stitch to finish to the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna do another shaping round. Okay, round number 7. So we're just gonna chain up 1, and we're gonna put the first 2 together, and then put the next 2 together, just like that. And then it says to put in 1 single crochet in the next 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is where we left off. Okay, so once we get that 10 in, that was round number 7. Let's just slip stitch to finalize. And rounds number 8 and 9 are same as 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 is just 1 single crochet in each, and there is a total of 12 stitches going around now. So just chain up 1 single crochet in each of the 12. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That takes us around, and I need you to do one more round of just a single crochets like that, and then that will conclude off your leg. It's kind of a short stubby leg, right? So do it one more time, just 1 single crochet in each, total of 12, and then that's it. And then we're gonna stuff this, and you can sew to the body as well. So just finishing up to the end of round number 9. So leave a long tail here to sew it to the body, and now stuff it, and then make sure then you feel the other one. And I've already kind of demonstrated how I would attach it to the project using stitch markers, and then once you're satisfied with it, then just sew it into position. You can see the legs are kind of splayed out a little bit. You can decide what works for you. So you'll notice that once you stuff it, then you'll see that the top layer, you can kind of see that the foot is kind of showing up there, and so you kind of want to do it so both are the same. So stuff these now and sew to your body. Okay, like I did before, I just set up the body so that it was sitting face up, and then I just put it down, and then I kind of looked where the rounds are, and I attached it with just ties, and to make sure that it looks actually pretty decent as I'm going. And then I'm gonna use the tails then just to circle around in order to get it to go. So the goal is here is to get that nice kind of bear shape of the legs, kind of a little bit splayed, and it's gonna be quite awesome. You can also, if you want to at this point too, you can sew on the arms, but I would kind of think about waiting until you have the head on, so then you can position the arms perfectly. So let's sew on here, because at this point you can turn the head anyway, because it's just a matter of the feet going on. So sew on your legs, and we'll be right back. Okay, so my legs are sewn on. You can see that it looks pretty awesome, and I didn't like totally overstuff them, but I stuffed them enough so that it will keep itself stable. So you can see the back end here. It almost looks like it needs a tattoo on the back or something. Okay, so let's continue, and we just have one more element to do. Actually 2 more. We have a tail and a heart, and let's begin the tail next. Let's begin to do the tail next. We're gonna do a magic loop. You know the routine at this point, and we're gonna get that started. And make sure that you secure it as well. So once you get that ready, then it's 6 single crochet in the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, pull it up. Make sure you put your stitch marker in, pull it tight, secure it, and then I'll see you on round number 2. Once things are secured, you slip stitch, you're ready to go. Number 2 is just chain up 1, and it will be 2 single crochets in each of them all the way around. There's only 6 stitches, so there'll be a total of 12. So 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, and then finally 6 and 6. Move up that stitch marker and then secure that, slip stitch it, and then we'll move on to round number 3. Round number 3 is a very simple round. Let's just slip stitch it before I share that. So slip it. So number 3 is just a single crochet round, so just chain up 1. So there's 12 stitches in a round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is at the stitch marker. We have one more round to do. It's very similar to the ear, and slip stitch it before you continue. And then the final round is as follows. So it's chain up 1 and single crochet 2 together in the first 2, and then 1 into the next, and then the next 2 are together, and then 1 into the next, and you're going to do that all the way around. And your final one here will be in 1 into the last one here. And you're just gonna slip stitch, and now you're just gonna apply a little bit of stuffing in this thing, and you're going to apply it and sew it to the back of your body character. So that's it for that, and I'll leave that with you. Just do what you need to do and attach it to your body, and just leave this long tail so that you can sew it to the body when you're ready. When you go to sew to the body, you'll notice that the tail in the photograph, it's part of the counterbalance. So if this is the front, it helps it from being able to sway, so it's kind of like a tripod in that sense. So when you go to fasten this on, if you put it up too high, there's no counterbalance. So you want to do it so that it's naturally going to rest, so that when you go to apply the head when you're ready, then it'll be part of the balance of that. So please secure that now. We're now gonna move on and create the easy little heart that's here. I don't know how easy it is, but we will figure it out, and let's begin to do that next. And let's just grab our same color as the snout and the bottom of the feet, and let's just finish this off. Okay, let's try this out. So we're gonna do a chaining of 7. I haven't practiced this, so we'll figure it out as we go, and we're gonna just chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now it's suggesting to us that to go second chain from the hook and 1 single crochet in each. So just go in the back of the loop. It just is easier. So we have 1, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is the magic one here. So it says to turn this, and it says chain 1 and 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. So there's a total of 6 at the end. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now it says as in the second row, so just turn your work and chain 1 and 1 single crochet in each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. and now it says rows 4, 5 and 6, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So chain up 1, so just go in the first 3. So 1, oh I see what they're doing, 2 and 3, and then turn your work, chain 1 and then just 1, 2 and 3. Sarah's right, this is easy. Chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in each, and then row 7 is 1 single crochet in each of 4, 5, 6, chain up, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. There we go, and then do not turn. So we're not going to turn, so we're just going to chain up 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. But what we're doing here is that we're going to continue down the side, so we're just going to just evenly space it around to give it the heart shape, and then that's what we're going to do. Go right up over top of that straggler, you might as well. So that's the bottom of your heart, and then just in the bottom of the heart what I would do is that oh, she has that single crochet, chain 1 single crochet at the bottom of the heart. It gives it a bit of a point, and then just working your way up. So you're just tracing it around for making the heart. And then as it comes over the top you're gonna have the heart shape, and then you're gonna go down the valley. Okay, and just I would slip stitch in the middle of it and then work your way up, and then slip stitch it to the beginning. It's pretty cute. Okay, so leave a long tail and you're gonna sew that to your body just like you would anything else, and I'm gonna leave that to you. Just position it onto the chest, and we'll continue that from that point. Okay, so now that my heart's on, it's not the most perfect thing I've ever done, but I'm happy with that, and I'm gonna now sew on the arms to the neckline here, and then I'm gonna pop on the head. So I'm gonna get my arms all lined up, and then I will position my head then after that's done. So I'm just gonna sew these so it's kind of flat to the top here, the rim, and then plop on the head to do that. So you may also want to kind of position it so that it's gonna naturally go forward in front of the leg. So if you go down, then it will be behind. You can probably force it, but you may want to think about that in advance, so it's up to you. Okay, so now I have everything in position. Everything is naturally falling where it should, thank God. I'm known for ruining amigurumi big time, so I have my everything in. So now I'm gonna grab my head and I'm going to tie on, oh my God, that is so cute. I'm going to tie on the head first, making sure that I get it done. I'm really quite happy with this. So I'm gonna tie on my head first, and then I'm gonna sew on using the neck section here, and then this bear is complete. Oh my God, it's very cute. So I've done amigurumi like this before. So if your bear is slouching, so say it's wanting to fall forward, what you can do on the back side here is if you go down a little bit further than you should, then what it does is it causes it to squat more, giving it more support. So that's kind of stuff that you can do if it's not working out to your satisfaction. Also, depending on your usage too, you could put chopsticks or even plastic straws inside these. I've done that before too with Antonio the mouse that I did, and in order to keep him stable, because sometimes the necks are a little bit too thin and therefore they don't support themselves when they are doing that. So I'm just going all the way around, and this is actually looking pretty awesome. Almost like he needs a little winter scarf or something. So I've actually gone all the way around at this point, and everything's good to go. So once I'm satisfied with that, I can just tie it in. I almost want to do him a little scarf. And once I tie it, then I can just weave it in and out of the work a total of 3 times. You might want to do that towards the back. You can decide what works for you. This is after doing the llama. This has been a walk in the park. I'm not usually into amigurumi as far as making it very often. I tend to screw it up, but the more times I do it, the more I learn. So it's one of those items that, you know, it's kind of a work in progress even for your own self to be able to do. And that is it. And just shape things that you think you need to shape, and now it's good to go as a gift, and I am pretty excited about it. So let's go see what Daniel thinks, and I'm gonna go show him next.